The morning started unusually calm, with fog rolling over the lake and the ranch bathed in the soft glow of dawn. But I knew better than to trust the serenity. Karen, ever relentless in her quest to assert imagined authority, had called the cops yet again, this time with the audacious claim that my ranch cabin needed to be torn down. She insisted it was unauthorized construction, a laughable accusation given that the cabin had been legally documented, zoned, and inspected years ago. What she didn't realize was that this particular cabin had special significance. It was reserved for my visits with the governor's son, who had a tradition of staying there during private retreats and security assessments. I was monitoring everything remotely from my office, multiple screens displaying high-resolution feeds from all corners of the property, and Titan, my K-9 guardian, patrolled silently along the perimeters. Karen arrived with Brent and Donut, her usual entourage, each armed with clipboards, cameras, and an overinflated sense of authority. They marched toward the cabin with a pickup truck full of what appeared to be demolition tools, ready to enforce their self-declared power. Brent tripped over a hidden irrigation pipe, sending his toolbox flying and narrowly missing Donut, who shrieked in panic as he ducked for cover. Karen, undeterred, tried to position herself in front of the cabin, waving papers in the air as though their mere existence granted her legal power. At that moment, I activated the first layer of automated defenses, remote locking systems and hydraulic perimeter barriers. All access points to the cabin were instantly reinforced, preventing any unauthorized approach. The moment Karen reached for the cabin door, an alarm system triggered, instantly alerting local authorities while simultaneously broadcasting live to my private feed. The siren startled the trio, causing Donut to stumble backward into a stack of firewood, which collapsed in a dramatic crash. Brent attempted to regain control, only to slip in the mud created by the automated sprinklers I had strategically installed around the cabin's perimeter. Karen screamed into her phone, demanding backup from her HOA friends, but the property's security jammer prevented any signal from reaching her contacts. The sheriff's department arrived within minutes, witnessing a chaotic tableau. Karen soaked, screaming, flailing and waving her arms. Brent struggling to maintain his balance while holding a clipboard. Donut muttering incoherently from behind the fallen firewood. And Titan, calm and alert, guarding the cabin's perimeter with an unflinching gaze. Officers quickly assessed the situation, and after reviewing the live and recorded feeds, issued citations for trespassing, attempted property destruction, and harassment. Karen insisted she was enforcing HOA regulations, but the sheriff explained in detail that her authority ended at the property line and that any interference with my property could result in serious criminal charges. I then activated the final layer of security. Automated barriers that would collapse harmlessly but prevent further approach, motion-activated sprinklers that could target any new intruders, and remote locking of the cabin interior, ensuring that no one could enter, damage, or intimidate anyone inside. The trio, humiliated and thoroughly defeated, retreated in disarray, their soggy clothes and muddy shoes leaving a visible trail of incompetence in the once pristine surroundings. Titan followed them silently to the edge of the property, letting out a low, warning growl as they disappeared into the distance. I walked to the cabin's porch, inspecting the locks and security systems, confirming that everything remained intact and fully functional. The cabin, reserved for the governor's son and fully legal, stood as a monument to both foresight and preparedness, utterly untouchable by the petty schemes of Karen and her minions. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the fields, I sipped coffee and reflected on the events of the day. Once again, Karen's audacity had been met with overwhelming, meticulously planned countermeasures, public humiliation, and legal reinforcement. Any attempt by her or the HOA to interfere with my property, intimidate my guests, or assert unauthorized authority had been decisively thwarted. The lesson was clear. No matter how brazen the trespass, how convoluted the HOA's schemes, or how absurd their claims, my property, my security, and my authority were absolute, and anyone foolish enough to challenge that sovereignty would be left drenched, humiliated, and thoroughly defeated. Titan barked softly, tail wagging at my side, as if to affirm that the ranch, the cabin, and every inch of my land remained under unchallenged control, leaving Karen's hubris in tatters yet again.